Have you ever wondered, how does attraction work? How does Riz work?
In 2026, a man named Neustein not only figured out the formula to attractiveness, but also figured out how a mu affects it. But our story starts with the famous mathematician and physician, Newton. Newton was very smart, but he always asked this question: what if Riz, handsomeness, and charisma were related? Well, he came up with this beautiful equation, R equals hc squared, which is now known as the theory of Rizativity.
Newton also made a second formula though, the famous Newton's second law. These toasties represent change relative to mass.
Neustein looked at the theory of Rizativity, R equals hc squared, and he thought, what if we derive an attractiveness formula from this? So he first took the Riz of the person, and divided it by the Riz of the opposition. This is the basic formula. We can also extend this into A equals the person's handsomeness times the person's charisma over the opponent's handsomeness and opponent's charisma. So instead of writing it like this, we can write it like this. But the thing is, we also want to measure the percentage of a person rizzing up someone. That's the main part of attractiveness. So he looked at this and he thought, how about as the person's riz goes up, the person's attractiveness goes closer and closer to 1. So he thought of this: A equals sum J equals 1, and then RU. Oh yeah, let's delete this. No, R, a person's riz, divided by the opposition's riz, and then 1 over 2j. But there's a major flaw with this. The opposition might be interested in other aspects, like if you're interested in math and the opposition is interested in math, the opposition is more likely to get rizzed up by you. Therefore, we must take A equals J equals 1. Your riz, oh yeah, I must delete that because this is the wrong formula. RU times interest over opposition's riz, 1 over J, no, 2 to the J. And this is the formula. Oh yeah, and interest is calculated in percentage. This is the basic formula. Neustein was very satisfied with this result, but he still had one question in mind. How would mewing affect attractiveness? Neustein would set out to solve this question. Well, Neustein first thought that the new attractiveness must be some function of the old attractiveness. And then he thought of expanding this to what it is. R U I over opponent. And then he got an idea. Remember when we talked about the force of a mu? Well, he took that and turned it to this. The new attractiveness in a mu is equal to, J equals 1. interest times the force of a mu. What a beautiful equation. 1 over 2j. And this is the equation that he came up with, which is now known as the Mu-Stein transformation, named after him.
This is the answer to everything. Mu-Stein solved it, and his legacy will remain forever.